Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the studio. Let's see what I got here. We want to listen to. There's the electro swing again. Let's do that for a bit. All right. Good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Hey, C-Bud. C-Bud, did you ever get your wine glasses? Speaking of which, I probably could make some more of those because I'm making 1 pound pieces today. And I'm gonna be complaining about this all day, so I'll let you know now. Like, I think I've got like, I'm afraid I'm gonna have a black eye. My face hurts. You see my spot right there? That's not part of my face. That is not. That is where a cat got me, and she also got me like right under my eye. So that I've got a little swollen knot there, and so it hurts to blink. So I'm gonna just warn you now. I'm gonna be complaining about it all day. I should have put my title as "My cat smacked me in the eye." You know, that's what I should have put as my title. We could change it to that at any time. But I want to look at this. I'm not 100% sold on this yet. And I could still, it's still soft enough. I could squish the other side if I wanted to just make it without a handle. So I need some opinions before I start throwing my mugs. This was going to be an oil bottle that you could, and it's going to have the metal piece that comes out the top. And so, you know, pour it out. What do you think of this? I'm not terribly happy with it just yet. Feel like maybe it needs to be more like that. Maybe smaller. Since it's got, let's see what that looks like. Then it kind of mimics the other side of the right? Well, was it not too long after we started streaming? Like within the first month of streaming, I gave myself a black eye with one of the pieces of equipment here. And when of course, I didn't tell Daniel what I'd done until the next morning when my eye was black. And then I had to tell him what I'd done. And he's like, "People are going to call the cops on me. I'm going to go to jail." I need a bag. Was his first reaction. I'm gonna see if that works. Of course, that was not the best. I put the paw print on the bottom because I could put the paw print on the top too. Is the paw print over here? Okay. Or did I take it over here? Okay. Yeah, it's not over here that I see immediately. No, but I remember I had it over here at one point, but I don't see it. We shall keep looking. But I don't need it right now. Now, I was going to see if you put it over here with these other handles, but I don't see it over here either. So the other option to these handles is this, which is you can hold it better now. So thumbprints on the inside where you can grip it. That's the other option. If we find it, I'll put a paw print up there too. So we may be tearing this place apart to find some paw print stamps because I've already lost one of them. What do we think? And then have the oil thing on top. Yeah, you and your husband were roughhousing early in your marriage, and you were tickling his feet when he accidentally hit you in the cheek, yes. And then your parents were very concerned when they saw the bruise. So none of your old bottles have a handle. Oil. I'll say it. Say. I'm trying. Oil bottles. That good. Where was it? Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go. So we have a paw print at the top and the bottom. So the oil bottles are like bigger round. So some of the feedback I'd gotten was that people couldn't grip them to pour. Like they were heavy and too big to get a good grip on. Or if they're slick with oil, if they a little bit spills or you have something on your hand or your hand's wet or anything, it's really hard to grip. So I made some that have little indentions on them so you can hold on to it. And then I was going to make a couple with handles, and I'm trying to decide if I like this or not. So something like that. So I might do this second one over here and just because this one is soft enough and because I've dropped it already and had to fix it, but that I could still like squish the other side if I needed to. But I'll put a handle in this one. I'll get one more of these. I'm going to do this because this is soft and I can't get my hand on the inside like I do on the mugs to put that at the bottom. Put a little bit of clay there. And I'm going to do this by starting at the bottom instead of the top like I have done. I was thinking to try to mimic the shape here of the pot. When we have our strap handle, if I can. But that's still, if I was mimicking the shape, it would be something like that. I don't. That may be not enough room to get your hands in there, so I may have to do something like that. So let's do it from this side. But then I think I can. There we go. There we go. So I'll try a couple of those and see if it, see what they look like when they're done. I think I like the dents better too. But I'll flesh the idea out and see how it works. And before I forget and lose it again, I'm going to, I can't reach it. Here's the paw print stamp back and set it in the box before I lose it. So today I'm wanting to make lots of mugs. I don't know where the cats are. Actually, Minnie's hiding. Minnie's scared. So we've had too many people in here today. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. Yes. The hammer that fell apart, we use that, and All right, the pen came out of my slab roller. Oh, really? A handle says syrup jug more than oil bottle. Ooh. That could be a way to promote it. That could be a way to say that's what this is for. If you need an oil bottle with a handle, use it for this. Otherwise, it could be a syrup jug. Yep. With a little cork in the top, though you can have a you can have, put the oil bottle pourers on a syrup bottle. Sometimes I've seen the little syrup jugs look more like little moonshine jugs. We had to fix the slab roller. The pin that controls the handle on it fell out. And it's simple once you know where it goes and how to put it back in, but if you don't know where it goes, then it's like you've got this random part that fell out. And okay, I'm going to make my first one of these and then measure it, and then we can go a bit faster. But yeah, talking about the oil bottles, I was trying to figure out a way to make them a bit more have a bit more grip on them. The swirly ones have grip because they have that texture on them. I was trying to use the feedback I'd been given of making them easier to hold. Got started a bit late today because we had a Zoom call to pick our booth for Origins. And we managed to get a corner booth. Oh, that hurts. Oh my gosh. All right, where you are 5 1/4 inches. That's perfect. Like, closing my left eye hurts. Nope, wrong thing. Sorry. The guide. I want the guide. No, I want the guide. Okay. Look on the floor. I'll look on the floor over here. I feel like I remember it falling to the ground. It's so hard to see because it's dirt colored and it's thin. Where else would I have had it over here?
Would it be in the front?
I don't think so. Let me see if it fell behind here. And I'm not... Wait. No, that's a piece of wood. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, it had fallen, like, under the wheel. It is too far to the right. It is. There we go. Thank you. I think that's as good as it was. Yes. Thank you, Cello. And hey, Lilac. We have our first mug. Finally. Finally. You're doing pottery soon? I'm assuming you mean pottery, not poetry. You're doing pottery soon, but you don't know what options you got for making things like hand building versus wheel throwing? Yeah. The square in the center is a tile. It's just, the cheapest thing I could find at Lowe's when I got it. It was and I've got a ton of them in here. But I use them because the majority of the things that I make are smaller than 6 inches. So the outside is one of the plastic bats you can get. And I just cut a hole in it. So I could take these tiles in and out and use them as my removable bat system. And you can buy commercially commercial products like this where they give you a bat with a hole in it and a bunch of bats to put in it, but it's super easy to make yourself. Oh no, that needs to be taller. Let me make sure I've not moved my guide or something. Okay. It would be okay to let the clay dry on it without getting stuck. Well, you'll notice when I am done here, I'm going to cut the bottom. I'm going to cut it off of the tile. And then I can leave it here without worrying about it too much, because just that little bit, even though it's kind of stuck again because it's soft clay, it could stick to the tile again, but having that little bit of wiggle room lets it shrink just a little bit, as it dries without sticking to the tile and cracking on the bottom. You can't just leave them stuck, otherwise the bottom will crack. The only thing you can do that with is the plaster. Seems to be the best for that. Because the plaster pulls the moisture out of the clay and it just pops off. But again, the plaster bats and the bigger bats take up a lot of room. This was the most economical product I could think of that would let me that would also save space. Oh, what language are you translating to? Just a dry piece of clay. You never know if it's a piece of plastic, a piece of wood, a sponge, or just a dry chunk of clay. It all feels kind of sharp and dangerous when it's spinning around like this. Putz? That's plaster? Only thing you know about plaster is it's something that dries fast. It's gypsum, isn't it? Plaster, once it sets, it does not change. It does not expand. It does not contract, and it will hold its shape, but it's not really strong. So you've got, people use it for architectural things, but decoration, but it's not meant to be walked on. It's not meant to be stairs or anything like that. But people will make, the decorations out of it. And it's what all the ceramic molds are made of, because it will absorb water without changing shape. And so when you pour liquid clay into a plaster mold, the water will soak into the walls of the plaster, pulling the water out of the clay so that make a mold.
Do you want to look at this couple of them? They can take this.
Yes, yes. I'll finish this one. Okay, be right back. All right, since I am going to be right back, I'm going to run another ad, so be right back in just a second. All right. Thank you for your patience. Now we won't have another ad for an hour. Isn't that a fun illustration? That is our Earthbending screen. Be right back screen. It is it was made by Baban Illustration, and she is here on Twitch. There's a command for Baban, Baban, that will give you a link to her channel. She has made the majority of our emotes and our screens and our sub badges. Yeah, I'd say the first ad you saw was just the half-hour ads. We got a 30-second ad that runs every half hour, and then I started another one since I had to leave anyway, which will take the place of the next half-hour ad. So we got an hour. or 52 minutes to be exact. So how's everybody else's Tuesday? Has anybody else been given a black eye by their cat? Or is it just me? Is that my special gift today? My face hurts. That feels like a thing. That's a sponge. That's a sponge. You don't have a black eye, Seabud, but you do have scratch marks on your leg because someone likes to ask for treats while you're in the kitchen. Yes. It's not as threatening when you're wearing jeans, but if you're wearing shorts or thin pants, that'll get your attention. How does the sponge end up in the clay? Because we reuse all of our scraps, and so I have my water bucket over here that I'm putting all like scrap clay in, and I'm putting I rinse out my sponge, and it gets filled with clay over time, and then we'll dump it all out and lay it on a plaster slab to dry out. And sometimes I forget to take my sponge out, and it ends up going through the pug mill and getting torn up into a million little pieces. So that's how. You're sewing and stabbing yourself with a needle. Oh, that sounds annoying. You have a good scratch on your hand from hitting it on the trimming in the mudroom in this morning. Ooh. I moved this. I'm like, what did I do? This looks like it's big enough. I moved that. Erg. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. You got a hole in your shoe, in your foot from a screw that went through the shoe. Oh, that sounds painful. We have these little bitty screws in the studio because they're the ones that like attach like the kiln jacket to the kiln bricks and stuff, or keep the just itty bitty like maybe half inch at most screws. So they're small, and I will occasionally get one of those that go through my shoe, but they're usually like not enough to go through my foot, but they will just. It feels like I have a rock in my shoe until I go to figure out what it is. Oh no, that's a nail screw thing that's in my shoe. Yeah. Oh, you were destroying furniture at the time, getting ready to move. Gotcha. It's bruised more than anything. Good. Wonder Hamster, I don't know if I actually answered your question out loud. We having any Nashville plates? I've got some, in process, but you don't have any finished right now. Oh, you're a scout leader and you choose an animal as your name, and yours got shortened to JCP. Got a bit of a wobble. Are these bigger than my normal cups? No, no, these are the 20-ounce mugs. So they look bigger right now. They are bigger right now, but they're going to shrink about a ½ inch as they go through the firing. So they're bigger right now than the actual cups. But they all start out this way. And you might be zoomed in closer, I don't know. No, my cat scratched me in the face this morning, like you can see on my where the mic is, right above it. I've got a spot there, and she got me like right under the eye. So the bottom of my eye is kind of swollen, and it hurts. It hurts. So I'm gonna be whining about it all night. And I felt like it was unprovoked. I got up this morning and I was petting her. She always sleeps at my feet, and I was petting her, and she was like nuzzling against me and all happy, and then suddenly she jumps up and just like smacks me in the face. That's called too much fun in your house. Yeah. I don't know. Like what I keep thinking about is like you see people having fight scenes in movies, or somebody gets punched in the eye and they just walk it off and act like nothing's wrong. I'm like, I don't think I could do that if something actually hurt my eye, because as much as I've been whining about it today and it's been a distraction, like I don't think an actual black eye would be something I would just walk off. You just started throwing on the wheel, and every time the clay would fly off the turning wheel, if you didn't keep a lot of clay around the cup, how did they stay on the well on the tile? Well, I always say sometimes that the first thing to do when you're throwing, the very first step of throwing something on the wheel is to make sure the clay's firmly attached. Do not have water on it when you put your clay on the wheel, and place it firmly on the wheel. Some people think that's where the word throwing comes from, where people would just be physically throw the clay on the wheel to make sure it's stuck. They stick to the tile fine as long as there's not any water on it. So I make sure that the tile is dry. And then just to make sure, again, the first thing I do is put a little bit of downward pressure on it to make sure it's stuck. So I put some downward pressure, then centered it, and then opened it up, pulled up the walls. We'll get some more water here. And with this clay, I don't usually need a whole lot of water. So with some clays that get really, really sticky and want to stick to your hands and either come off or just, I guess there's too much friction there, so you have to use a bit more water. But this one is, you can throw it pretty dry. And this is a Kentucky Mudworks Iceman. And I'm using 1 pound of clay. It's like 1 pound and 2 ounces because I know the 2 ounces is about what I'm going to lose. When I trim a little bit off the bottom and stuff. Ooh, you're in Germany. Well, welcome to Kentucky. Do you know, do you watch Zodel? Zodeltrine? Pottery streamer, also from Germany. Yes. That's we actually had a gentleman come in here. We're in southern Kentucky, and we had a gentleman come in who was from Germany, and he was on a business trip here, like setting up some equipment for a company that's like in our county, and installing it and showing people how to use it. And he came into the studio because he was having pottery withdrawals because he did pottery when he was home, and just as a hobby. And so we just talk forever, showing pictures of different things and talking about what studios were like there versus here. Yeah, have a good night. Forget that it's so much later there. There we go. Start off the wheel a little bit faster, then slow it down. Whoops. Got a dry chunk in there. Here we go. The mouth of this is a bit too big. There we go. Let's just make this whole thing a bit taller and then slow it down. Sometimes the spinning of the wheel, it really does want everything to be a bowl or a flat plate. It wants everything to open up and flop over. So that's the challenge of what you're doing is fighting against that to make the pieces taller. There we go. Where are the cats today? I think Minnie's still hiding, but Kiba might be in the office, or he might be under the kiln. Come to think about it, because I am firing a kiln right now. We've got a kiln rising in temperature, so he might be over there cuddled up next to it. It's a little bit chilly today. Was it yesterday when Daniel was driving through Ohio? He got snow. Is this why you always see people with if they have a black eye with like a steak on their face or a bag of frozen peas? Because it'll take the form of your face and it'll stop the swelling. Whoa. Mega sweet smiles. Oh, that's awesome. So do you mind me asking what your name is that means glaze? You know, are you a baker then? Does the glaze mean the same thing in in your language? Because glaze can be either like the color on pottery, or it could be like icing on a cake. It's spelt mine, M-I-N-E, mine. Specifically, that means pottery glaze. Whoa. All right, that's awesome. We have some friends like yeah, you have your perfect business name already. It's like some friends of ours their last name is Terra, Terra, which and so type of clay is terracotta clay. So their business name is the Terra Cottage. And I always thought that was awesome. Well, in ours, like everybody thinks we're like a dog groomer or something because we have a paw print on our logo, but our last name is Pauly, so we started putting paw prints on the pots, and then just worked that into our logo too. Actually, took me a while to do that. I'm like, no, that's too cute. It's gonna be too much, but I'm glad I did. No, that's what I do. That's what we started doing at first, and then we made it into our logo. So you put a paw print on the bottom, and then our logo on the very bottom. But our the paw print goes. So every piece has the cat stamp of approval. That's what we call it. Yeah. So for the most part, everything that has a handle is gonna get a paw print. Oh, how were you thinking of doing it? Were you thinking of having it like shaped like an actual like cat paw's foot or something? Like those little feet that are on the bottom of like ornate chairs that look like animal paws. Oh, make a mold from a cat paw, turn that into a 3D shape and stick it to the base of the square thing so when you spin it, it leaves an imprint. Oh. I've tried something similar to that before because we have stamps. We make rubber stamps and we made one with our logo on it, but getting it centered on the bottom of the tile is the hard part. Keeping it from moving around is the hard part. Here, good evening. Yeah, the problem would be figuring out how to either attach something to the tiles or, that's the thing is how do you, what would attach to the tiles that they wouldn't deteriorate. The stamp can release fairly easy from a mug because it's pliable, and so after it dries for a certain amount, you can just peel it off. But if the bottom of the mug was too thin, you pulled it off too early, then it could pull the whole bottom off. So that there's some finesse there. Yeah, that would take a lot of stamps. Yeah. you're into the novelty mugs that are shaped like animals, like unicorn shaped. Some things like that can be made like starting off by throwing, and then you could sculpt it out. But most of the ones you see are probably like slip cast or made other ways. Did we get up to anything fun for Easter? I got to go visit my parents. Got to see some family that we hadn't seen in a while. But nothing crazy. It was chilly. I'm sure everybody had to wear jackets over their Easter finery. Yeah, this was the first time, talking about Easter, it was the first time in many, many years that all of my cousins on my mother's side of the family were together in one place for one holiday. Just worked out that everybody could come in. Yeah, just cleaning them ones for a bisque. There's another piece of Mr. Sponge. Not a huge piece, but it does make a little bump there. Does that mean the sponge is needing to be changed? No, that means a sponge died a very horrific and inglorious death. Because what it means is I didn't get the sponge out of the water bucket here, and when I dumped everything into my reclaim to be to reuse the clay, that it just got mixed in and it all went through the pug mill and got chopped up into a million little pieces. That's the good thing about these sponges is that they don't shed like some will. These they're absorbent and made from I guess a more a rubbery substance because they don't just come apart in little pieces. It would add flavor to the tea, yeah. Now it would all burn out by the time it was done, and but the hope would be that if it was a big chunk, it might leave a hole behind, and then the mug wouldn't be very useful.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Were these two that says I love the yarn, I love Jeanette? Is that the one that goes with this cookie cutter?
Should be the small one. Just see if if it looks like it's a good fit.
Okay.
If it needs to be a little bit bigger, you can get one of the other ones, but yeah. Hey Greg, yeah, why is it's not a dumb question at all. Why is the square in the middle removable and not a set part of the wheel? Some of the bats I have are, 12 inches wide and you remove the whole thing. This one is I took one of the bats and I cut a hole in it so I could put the tile in the center so that specifically so I can pick this up and move it without having to touch the mug because the clay is super super soft. And if I tried to pick it up off the wheel, then I would just squish it. So I use these, they're just plain old floor tiles. I use these so I can move this around without having to risk warping it. And you can buy like commercial systems like this where they sell you a bat with a bunch of smaller tiles, but it's super easy to make yourself. I have a plastic bat here that I just cut a hole in, and then I use tiles. It's a much easier to use tiles that are non-textured. This one's got a little bit of a texture to it, and it's not the best, but it was left over from our kitchen, so I use them. But yeah, the tiles allow me to throw the piece a lot thinner than I would if I was going to try to pick it up off the wheel. Because you'll see that a lot if you ever watch other videos of people doing pottery. A lot of people just cut underneath the pot and kind of slide it off and pick it up and move it. And it depends on your clay body. If your clay body has a lot of grog in it, sometimes you can do that. But most of the time, people that do that leave a lot of extra clay at the bottom of the piece so that you can pick it up without warping it too much. And then they trim off the excess later. But I think it is much more efficient if you can throw a pot nice and thin so you don't have to trim it. But then you got to figure out how to get it off the wheel. So I use the tiles. And the tiles also don't take up a ton of room, you know, off the wheel. They're 6-inch tiles, and I can stack them next to each other. And I can fit like 70 on my cart. Saves my arms with less clay to reclaim, yes. Though I don't, my arms don't. My arms are pretty flabby. They don't get a lot of like wedging work, you know, because we have the pug mill. It actually saves my wrists. That's what the pug mill is, you know. I could probably use some arm muscle, but not having carpal tunnel is worth getting a extruder. I am very conscious of that because a potter that I used to work with, he had carpal tunnel. He had developed it over the years, and he was just in his mid-30s. And so he had to figure out how to work around it. And one thing he did was got a pug mill, and then he kind of taught himself a different way to throw so that he wasn't using as much of his forearms. And so he taught that to me, and so that's why I throw the way I do. And why when I was starting to get orders and doing a lot more of production and a lot more volume, one of the first things I did was we were on the lookout for a pug mill. Because I recognized the value of one. Right? Yes. I don't think she means grog like beer. No, no. Grog is in sand. Though some people do put beer in their clay. They do. I mean, I guess if you run out of water, just open a can of beer, put it in. Yeah. But no, actually, beer helps. So some people, when you're making clay from scratch, they say to the clay needs to age because the more it ages, the more plastic it's going to be, the more stretchy it's going to be, the easier to throw it might be. And some people say adding like a can of beer to like a batch of like a couple 100 pounds of clay will help it age faster. I think age is just a nice, pretty word for mold. Yes, as a beer clay. What? Yeah, grog is sand, or in some instances, it can be fired clay that's been ground up really fine and added back into the clay. It a lot of times it helps with thermal shock. So you find it a lot more in industrial ceramics that are going to be outside and in the cold and the heat and such. So I cut the square into the wheel surface. No, actually, there's a bat on top here. So the darker piece right here is the bat, and I guess you can see the right here in the corner. There's a lighter bit that's spinning. That's the wheel head. So there's a bat sitting on top of the wheel head that's held in place by pins. There's like bolts in the wheel head that hold it in place, and then cut a hole in that. Bone china. That would be porcelain clay, and I have used porcelain before. I don't know that I've used like pure porcelain in a while, which is just a ball clay or kaolin, just pure kaolin. But I've used a porcelain clay body before. Because now, like almost every clay body is a mixture of several different things, depending on what temperature you want to go to or what color you want. It is very finicky. Imagine trying to sculpt something out of cream cheese. It's that soft. Can you buy porcelain clay already mixed? Yes, yes. You can buy just about any type of clay pre-mixed now. And that's what I do. So I have boxes of clay. Actually, there's one right there. Boxes of clay over here that I get in. And then we reuse all of our scraps. So every batch that I'm throwing is usually a mix of the fresh and then the reclaimed clay. Should I cut that off? Yes. And now, like porcelain is associated with a white, almost translucent color, but now you can get it in just about any color you want. Does it come in purple? Ooh, we'd have to see. I don't see why not. If Would I mix pet's ashes into clay? Yes, I would do that. I have not done that specifically before. We have had someone come in and want to put ashes on top of a pot and sprinkle them on top and fire it, because you can fire it, and that leaves a bit of a texture. If I was going to put it in a glaze, I would like grind them with like a mortar and pestle until it's very fine, and add it to a glaze. Yes, so I can do that. I've done that. I've decorated with have made little memorial pots out of pet fur, because we do horsehair pottery here, which is a raku process where you take horsehair and like touch it to the outside of a burning a warm pot that's been fired up to like around 1500 degrees Fahrenheit, and so the as the hair burns, the carbon gets trapped in the walls of the pot, and so it's permanent. And I've done that with different animal fibers. You've seen that done with feathers, yes. I've never gotten feathers to work. I don't know if I think I'm doing it too hot for feathers. Like every time I try to do a feather, it just ends up being this big black blob of a mess that doesn't look like anything. I heard the air bubble pop. just needs to be a bit taller. Yeah, I wonder sometimes what the mic picks up and what it doesn't, or why it picks up some things and not others. Did I start off using guides on how tall or wide to make them? Yes, and I'm actually using a guide right now. I have a guide set up in OBS, so I am measuring the height of these. I've just got a line set up so I don't have to, take out a ruler and measure it every single time. I've made different contraptions before that I would use to kind of like measure the height and width of it after I threw the piece, but this lets me see if I'm, in the ballpark at least before I start stretching it out, and so I can correct it before it gets done. Saves a little bit of time. I don't tend to measure the width as much, so they're all going to be a little bit different, but I try to get the height to be the same. But they're all going to be close. They're all going to be all 20-ounce mugs. Yeah, OBS is working. Yeah, I never thought I would be using like a camera to measure the pots. Laser precision. There we go. I like the way that looks. first step is place the clay firmly on the wheel.
So I think I got all this done.
Also, did you get the? I forgot to say, did you get the ones in the drawer that were like the yarny ones, the ones that were still in the drawer?
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, take your break and I'll come see.
Things I think have been a lot right.
Yeah, yeah. Which part of the whole mug making process do I enjoy the most? This part. The throwing is always going to be my favorite. So the selling of the mug is good too, but throwing the mug as part of the making process, throwing it is it's what got me first interested in learning pottery, and it's it's my favorite part of the process. It's what I enjoy the most. I think it's the most relaxing part of the process, but it's what I've practiced the most. So it actually ends up being probably what I get to do the least, because it's what I'm the most efficient at. Hey, Charred Wings. Good afternoon. Molly, yeah, you like the feel of the clay on your hands, yes. You prefer the wet or the just the clay like with hand building, or do you prefer like the water of throwing? I think this is the most satisfying part of the process to watch as well as to do. I think because so much of the ceramic process is hurry up and wait. You gotta like do one step and then let it dry for a day. Do another step, then wait some more, and then put it in the kiln and wait for it to come out of the kiln, and then and this and that. But with throwing, you get to see something go from a lump of nothing into something in just a few minutes. Hold on. We're not there. There we go. So we're a little bit wobbly, but we're still together. And for me, like some people ask me, like, they say, oh, I could never sit down and make the same thing over and over again. Don't you get bored? And for me, like, I love the repetition. I like being able to get into a good rhythm, get into a groove. And to me, it's very relaxing to do the repetitive motions over and over again. And then be productive on top of it. Yeah, you do like the quickness of throwing a piece, but you also like to watch something come together slowly. Hey, Minnie. Hi, honey. Come on. She's like, oh no, I got my feet wet. She's like, this was a trap. Come on, honey, I know. She was stepping over here and doing the whole, waggle her foot because she stepped in the clay. And here's you licked it. She just licked the other pot. I was like, why is she over here staring at the pot? And then I see all the dented rim and all the tongue marks. Are you licking your lips? Yeah. All right. I'm going to finish this one, and then we'll be right there. Say cats are weird, but you love them. Oh, yeah. Gotta love them. Even when they make you bleed. All right. I'm going to be back in just a second, and while I'm gone, I'm going to run an ad so that it doesn't just interrupt me at a random spot. So I'll be back in just a minute, guys. All right, we're back. You have to wipe your shoes before leaving the studio, or your cat will lick them. Well, I learned pretty early on that clay is not bad for cats. You know, something they would encounter in nature too. So, and that it's not bad for them at all. So I don't like if I don't care that she licks it. It's just kind of funny sometimes. It's unexpected.
Don't have one more piece of that canvas for the slide machine, do you?
Mm-mm.
Okay, they're
That's
just
it.
kind of really wet still.
Yeah, yeah.
Still doing it.
Or sometimes alternate the sides.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
I look like I have a giant zit, don't I? So my cat got me in the face this morning. Actually, I look like I've been bitten in the face by a vampire is what it looks like. Because I've got a spot like right under my eye where it's you can kind of see it, yeah, covered by my glasses, and then the other one. Aye, sir. Thank you for the follow. Yes, where's Patrick Swayze when I need him? But you did trigger, you did trigger the ghost command. I don't know if it actually works. Does the ghost command still work? We used to have so many ghost references when people would come in. Like, it used to be the first thing everybody said, so we made a drinking game out of it. I don't know if it still works, though. I'm still gonna... So take a drink of whatever you have handy. You had an idea for an Animal Crossing New Horizons game show where you spin a numbered wheel 2 times, which correlates to a challenge on a list. And you have a spreadsheet, and then you do that, and whoever wins 3 challenges first wins the game. And he called it the Wheel of Misfortune. I think that's also a magic card, I think. The Wheel of Fortune is a magic card. I think surely they've done a Wheel of Misfortune, too. Wheel of Fortune is a very expensive magic card. But Wheel of Fortune is also a game show. That's right. But Wheel of Misfortune makes it sound like bad things happen. That emo kid, thank you for the follow. And welcome to the studio. Think Wheel of Fortune is also a tarot card? Yeah, it's probably a lot of things. Wonder what the origins of it is. Nope. A little bit faster than that. Megan, thank you for the raid. Hey. Good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, everybody. This one is a little bit on the tall side, so let's just altering it a little bit. There we go, that's good. How are you doing? Yeah, what were you doing today? Monsters! Yeah, you've got a sale this Friday, so you're working on a few more. Yeah, well, good luck with your sale. I'm making more mugs, which seems like what I'm always doing, right? But and seeing how many of these we think we can get done today. Got a late start because we had a Zoom call, which was for a show that we're doing, Origins, up in Columbus. So one of the gaming shows, they were letting us pick our booth numbers for our show, and so they had everybody join a Zoom call, and so we went in order and picked out the booth, give our booth preferences. And they talked a little bit about what the show floor was going to look like. How many? 42. This will be 43. So not that many. Hey, Dan. Good afternoon. I'm all right. Hey, Wish. I'm actually like I've been trying not to complain about it, but my face hurts because my cat got me in the eye today this morning, like right, and then the soft spot like under your eye. She got me good. So it hurts to blink. So I've been whining about it all day. See the spots that look like zits right here on my face. It's cat puncture wounds. I was just petting her this morning and she was purring and nuzzling against me, and then she just suddenly jumped up and smacked me in the head. I don't know why. I don't know if something spooked her and she thought it was me or what, but yeah. Like, I've given myself a black eye before, and that really, really hurt. So I'm hoping it doesn't bruise that bad. I've given myself a black eye in the studio here before because I have like the pug mill has it's a big giant a mixer, but it has the lid on it has a big arm that you can pull on to like a lever to kind of close it if it's full and kind of hold it closed. So it's this great big long arm that you open and close, and I opened it up and it didn't go back far enough to kind of lock, and it came down and hit me in the head. That hurt, knocked my glasses off and everything. It hit me on the side of the head. And of course, I was so embarrassed, I didn't tell anybody that I'd done it. And then the next day, when I had a black eye, I realized I couldn't just not tell anybody. Dan, that's amazing. You've lost 50 pounds since December of 2020. Congratulations. And Chard, you did decide on doing the sewing thing you want to do as work. Good. And your mom's fine with it. You're going to be living with her for a while, so you didn't want her being upset with you. You hand sew everything, so you don't really make sewing machine noises. Oh. Yeah, Kira, yeah, and everybody looked at Daniel weird for a week. That was the first thing he said when he saw it. He's like, I'm going to go to jail. It's like, nobody's going to believe you did that to yourself. Luckily, it wasn't so bad that, like, if I was wearing glasses, you couldn't tell, but... Megan, have a good supper. Thank you so much for stopping by. Ooh, pork sounds good. But it smells good. Oops. Big Golf Clash, thank you for the follow. Like how he clarified, you drink all the milk and the orange juice separately. Oh no, you can combine them. What, have a creamsicle? You've gotten into the habit of calling Sunny D orange juice. Yeah, it's like it's an orange flavored drink. Yeah. I used to like Sunny D. I remember drinking that a lot. But I'm not a huge fan of orange juice. I've never liked just drinking orange juice by itself. Oh yeah, no, Sunny D is good. But calling it orange juice might be a stretch. Orange Kool-Aid is probably closer. Yeah, not a fan of lemonade either. Maybe it's the acidic stuff I'm not a fan of. But then again, like you said, maybe I've not had real good lemonade. But I'll get like the fresh squeezed lemonade they give you at a fair, where you have lemons and sugar water and they put it together. I feel a lump, but I don't know if it's an air bubble yet, or if it's another piece of sponge. Must have been an air bubble. Yeah, we have a lot of people lurking in here. You say you're the only one speaking in chat. Yeah, and it's also that time where people are eating supper or getting off work and stuff. I'm at the point where I'm trying to be realistic about what I think I can get done versus what I wanted to get done today. It's like I wasn't able to ever get started. I got started late today. Took a nap today and you're still tired. Sometimes if I take a nap in the middle of the day, I'm just gone for the rest of the day. I can't do a cat nap. If I actually fall asleep, then I'm just drowsy for the rest of the day, so I don't even like taking one. Hey, Annie. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, thank you. Say you love watching the work, make it look so seamless. Yeah, you'd make a lot more of a mess. Oh, don't worry, I make a lot of a mess. So that's part of it, though. All right, that's 54. I'm gonna do 60 even if I have to stay a little bit later. Hey, hello. So you think you'd be making a wonky blob? I still get those every once in a while. All right, 56. I think that is a sponge. It's not going away. Yeah, I can. That was a sizable chunk. But because it's soft right now, I should be able to patch that back, and it might. I mean, you're gonna see the little spot there, but if you didn't know what it was, you know, you might think it's just a little wrinkle. You know, sometimes melatonin has no has different effect on different people. Some people it doesn't affect them at all, and some people it just knocks them right out. There we go. Yeah, I can feel that little area as a thicker piece of clay where it is, but I can't immediately see it. Historical sewing. Does that mean like sewing using like traditional methods or sewing things from specific time periods, like the way they were made back then? She sews in historical methods and makes historical stuff. Yeah, I'm interested in that type of thing in relation to pottery. I've watched a lot of people who like go over like traditional techniques from a certain time period or from a certain region. There's a lot of things that are hard to recreate because you don't have the same raw materials you did 500 years ago, you know, or even 100 years ago. But techniques and going into the reasons why people made things of this certain shape and size and volume and such. Hi, Charlotte. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, welcome to the studio. I've only got like one or two more of these I'm going to be doing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and hopefully notifications will work. They're always kind of hit or miss, right? But welcome to the studio. Yeah, that Bernadette, the YouTuber you watch, has actually made a stay. Not, I think that is the correct spelling. I think it is, which is an ancestor to the corset. Yeah, and also taught you that the corset is not dangerous. Yes, we've had discussions about that here before, where like the way we try to wear corsets is not how people actually wore the corsets. Yeah, you like this sewing facts? Yeah. Well, and especially things that makes sense. It's like yeah, our ancestors, our forebears were not idiots. They didn't like squeeze their insides to the point that I'm sure some did, but not everybody squeezed their insides to the point they couldn't breathe or eat. All right, let me move these two, and this is going to be it. I've got to get going. I will see y'all later. I will be back tomorrow, probably doing more of this, if not putting stuff together, but we'll be here doing something. So thank you so much for watching. And hopefully these can dry out enough that I can put them together tonight. Let's see. Yeah, the first ones are still really wet. I'll put a fan on them. But guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, thank you for watching. But don't go away just yet. I'm going to find somebody to raid. I've just got to go to the other computer to do that. So, hold on just a second.